So once again, very good morning, everyone. Um, Welcome to the Generative AI workshop. I'm really excited to have you all here. So in the next 2 hours, we are going to discuss deeply on what generative AI is, how it evolved, and why it is such a big deal, right? And how can you be the part of AI revolution? Okay, so stay engaged. From my side, I can assure you that it's not going to be a boring session. So I'll keep it more interactive, right? Okay, so you should unmute yourself and answer to whatever the questions I ask, or at least be a part of it in a very interactive manner. Okay, yeah. So this is our today's agenda. We'll begin with a quick look at the evolution of artificial intelligence, then how um, it led to generative AI. Okay, so from artificial intelligence, how the machine algorithms or the concepts evolved to the generative AI. So that part we are going to cover in depth, and then we'll be seeing the historical evolution just for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so it won't be more. And then the most important part of all everything is this demystifying generative AI. Okay, so this is the main part which we are going to cover today, and then we'll be looking at the career insights and job opportunities, and also the future trends and industry impact. Okay, so our main concentration will be on demystifying the generative AI, or explaining in detail of what generative AI and how it is evolving with time. Okay, we'll also see the major milestones of artificial intelligence, etc., etc. Okay, so it is going to be interesting, right? So yeah, let's move to the next slide. Okay, firstly, I would like to ask, what is artificial intelligence? Okay, many of you are already listening about this particular term from a very long time. Okay, this is not a new one. If generative AI is there, then yeah, yes, it is a new thing which has come up from the past 2 years. Okay, but artificial intelligence has been from a very long time. So I would like to ask you, what is the meaning of artificial intelligence? Okay, so if someone wants to unmute and just tell me the quick definition of what this artificial intelligence, a brief one would be fine, or otherwise, okay, you can also chat in the chat box, right? Yeah, I have given it here. So artificial intelligence is when machines think and act like humans. Okay, and it can learn, solve problems, and make decisions. So these are the two important things of artificial intelligence, and I have kept it in a very minute way. Okay, this is a very simple way of defining the artificial intelligence. If someone of you do not know what artificial intelligence is, these two are self-explanatory, right? And then we look at the broader spectrum of artificial intelligence. Okay, so I believe none of you have a in-depth knowledge of artificial intelligence. Okay, because many people, even though they are working in machine learning or the present generative AI, they won't be knowing the broader spectrum of how each of the subfield work. Okay, how these are dependent with each other, and how these are independent with each other. Okay, so these are the things we must know. So artificial intelligence, as I said, is a broad idea of making machines smart, like thinking, solving problems, or understanding language, whatever it is. It is all part of artificial intelligence. Okay, so this we have already discussed. And what is this machine learning? Machine learning jobs have been, in a tremendous quantity, right? So from the couple of years, probably from, you have to know what this machine learning is. Machine learning Machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence. You already know about it by looking at this picture itself, where machines will learn patterns from data that we provide and make decisions without being directly programmed. Okay, so this is nothing but machine. Whenever we give data to an algorithm, okay, whatever the algorithm it may be, machine learning contains lots of algorithms, and when you give a data, specific data to it, it will learn patterns from it and it can do tasks from that particular data. Okay, so that is nothing but your machine learning. So you're making the machine to learn from the data you provide. So that's all. And then coming to deep learning. Okay, so deep learning, as you can see, is a part of machine learning. And there is an interesting thing about deep learning. Okay, so this is the point where we, our researchers or scientists, have decided whether a machine can think like a human. Okay, so however our brain is working inside, right? So our brain process lots of things, right? In the same way, can we create a machine? Okay, that was the first thought they got. And then they introduced this concept. Okay, we'll go in detail what this deep learning is, because it is very much connected to generative AI. So we'll have a in-depth knowledge on what generative AI, at least to the definition level. All right, and then what is this generative AI? So this entire workshop is on generative AI. We'll have a very good information on this generative AI in the coming slides. Okay, but for now you already know about it, um, because we are already using many generative AI applications. Okay, whether it may be chatbots or virtual assistants or whatever. So we are already using this generative AI. So we know a little bit of information about it. Okay. Okay. Let me move to the next slide. So this is the question we have, right? What is generative AI? Okay, if I ask you what are the applications of generative AI, you might say generative AI is a branch of artificial intelligence which can create new content like text. Okay, because we are using this regularly in our day to day life, whether you are a software engineer or healthcare specialist or whoever you may be, but you are using this particular application for generating text. Okay, and we the Ghibli has come in chat gpt, it was introduced right recently, and people have started using Ghibli, Dali, etc, etc. So you know that generative AI can create a content like text or images, but it can also create some part of videos, and also unstructured data as well. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so these are the applications, main applications that we know, but the applications are not at all limited to this. Okay, generative AI is penetrating into almost all of the industries. Okay, for example, if you see it here, biological data sequences. Okay, the medical studies like drug discovery, or the studies of x-ray or MRIs or CT scans. So all these are now have become or dependent on generative AI. Okay, and then 3D models, and then structured data like tabular or charts. So generative AI is being introduced into each and every application to make the tasks easier. Okay, so if you're thinking that generative AI is all about creating these four, no, generative AI is entering into almost all of the industries. Okay, so that thing we have to keep in mind. And now, so I have told you these four applications, then what this workshop is all for, right? In this workshop, we'll specifically cover on text related applications of generative AI. Okay, why? Because the current generative AI trends, if you see, most of the jobs or most of the applications that we are using in our day-to-day life are completely text. Okay, whether it might be chatbot or virtual assistants like Alexa, Siri, Cortana. So all these AI voiceover tools. So all these are will be coming under sequence modeling, and it will be part of text, and we'll be in depth covering on this text part. Okay, because if you can understand this, you can correlate the same concepts for this as well. Okay, now, so what are the things that we are going to discuss today? Okay, or what are the key text based applications of generative AI? Okay, so text based applications means you already know chatbots, virtual assistants, and chat gpt. We are using chat gpt, claude, gemini, etc. will be coming under this domain. And a text summarization, so by the word itself you must say it is nothing but summarizing your large text. Okay, for example, we are using in shots way to sms or daily hunt, right, in our day to day life. So which provides the entire text in a summarized manner, the news articles I'm saying, right? So this will be coming under text summarization. And then sentiment analysis and tone detection. Okay, so sentiment analysis means, so every day or weekly once we are using this book my show for providing any review of the movie that we watched recently. Okay, so there we'll be either providing the comment or the rating, or only one. Okay, or not only in book my show, but we have this particular applications in many of the other websites as well, in e-commerce websites, or for the dresses that you take. So you will be providing some reviews to it, right, on the scale of 1 to 5. So 5 being the best and 1 being the least a review that you are going to give. So sometimes we give only text but not the rating. So this sentiment analysis, the machine will be able to read over your text, and it judges whether you have a positive review on that particular product or not. Okay, so that is a one type of sentiment analysis. Of course there are many, but it is one of them. Hope you understood what is sentiment analysis. And content generation, you already know, right? And language translation, so this we have been using, right? So whenever we move to some other state where we don't know their language, then we are immediately opening the Google Lens over there or Google Translate. So it comes under the language translation, and it will be part of your text based application itself. Okay, and then personalized recommendations, right, in Hotstar, Flipkart, or Amazon India. We basically see a product and we show interest on it, right? We add them in wish list. Okay, so all those things, and code generation, which you already know, and knowledge management and QA systems, which we will discuss in the coming slides. Okay, and text based games and interactive storytelling. So these are all the applications of generative AI. Please don't think that generative AI is limited to chatbots and virtual assistants in terms of the text based applications. Okay, its advantages or applications are vast. Of course the list is not ending. Okay, I kept only the main ones that we are going through each and every day, right? So before we delve into generative AI, I would like to show you some of the milestones of artificial intelligence. Okay, so it all started in 1950. Okay, I'm not going to give you what happened at that time. Okay, but these are the major milestones. 1956 artificial intelligence term was coined. 1967 ELIZA, so people came to know. So 1967 people do not know how to type in a keyboard itself, right? But then that time itself they created an algorithm. Okay, so this particular algorithm, whenever you ask it how are you, it will be responding like I am fine, how are you. So that is the only thing it does. Its capabilities are not equivalent to the llms that we have today, right? So this elisa is something, that algorithm, which impressed the people. They thought a machine can converse like a human. Okay, so they were greatly impressed by its capability. So they thought only humans can talk to humans in a language that each one of them interacting will understand together, but a machine could do the same. So that was the time 1967. And 1980 expert systems, recurrent neural networks. From here we'll be having a in-depth understanding, you need not to worry. And then, so 1977 LSTM. Okay, what is RNN and LSTM? We'll discuss. And 2012 deep learning emerged. And then 2017, 2018, we'll have a detailed understanding on this. But I would like to point out one specific milestone at this point. Okay, 2016 it was. It was a time when deep learning was already introduced, and many of the neural networks. Okay, at this point you may not understand what is neural network, but please remember deep learning has introduced terms like neural networks. So based on those neural networks, we were able to create text related data, or image related data using the computer vision, etc., etc. But whatever I'm saying over here is happened on 2016, where an algorithm called as AlphaGo, which was introduced by Google. Okay, it defeated the world champion in the game of Go. Okay, so this was quite impressive, right? So a machine or algorithm defeated a world champion in a game. That too, it's not a normal game, it is a Go game. So if you don't know what Go game is, it is quite similar to chess. Okay, so chess will be having thousands of permutations and combinations to make a move, right? In the same way, Go will be having a lot more than that. Okay, and in that particular game, an algorithm called Go defeated that world champion. So it's an outstanding a milestone of artificial intelligence, right? Yeah, and then 2017 transformers, 2018, you already know chat gpt, dolly, everything has come up. Don't think that I am going little faster, because these are a generic data. Okay, so you can have this information in Google itself, so that's the reason I'm going fast. But when it comes to the concepts, I'll be going very slow until you understand it. Okay. Yeah. And coming to your types of artificial intelligence, so we know what is artificial intelligence, but we do not know what are the types available in artificial intelligence. Okay, so I have provided you the types, but it is in one point of view. However, you will have lots of other types of artificial intelligence. All right, so firstly, rule based AI has come up. So those are the sequence models itself, which will generate the text. Okay, but how they creates the text is based on this if and then rules. Okay, so if and else condition we have in Python, right? In the same way, we'll be having this if and then rules, and this rule based AI was dependent on that. And then machine learning, it is we have lots of jobs, and around 4 lakh people in India are working as machine learning engineers, or somewhat related to machine learning or data science, right? So machine learning is I have already introduced about it. So machine learning has come up after a later point of time, and it has its specific usage. Okay, we'll discuss about it very deeply. And the other type of artificial intelligence we have is deep learning, which came up in 2016, 2012, I guess 2012. And it introduced neural networks concepts to us. Okay, and then generative AI, which we have been seeing from 2018. Okay, maybe people may not be knowing that generative AI existed in 2018, but yes, it was. Okay. Yeah. And then so we'll be discussing topics in a sequential manner. So it is like a historical point of view. So over the years what happened, so like that we'll be covering this workshop. Okay, so then only you will get a very good understanding on this AI evolution. Okay. Yeah, then we have entered into machine learning era. Okay, what is this machine learning? When AI started learning from data. So that is the simple definition of machine learning. Okay, so machine learning is when machines learn patterns from data without being explicitly programmed. Okay, so you need not to worry about these definitions. When we look at the applications, you can understand this machine learning concept. Okay, and it's about training a model instead of writing rules. And the more data you give, the better the model becomes. Okay, so what are we saying here? Okay, so we have already discussed the definition of machine learning, right? Machine learning is nothing but a field of artificial intelligence where a machine can understand, get the data from humans, and then learn the patterns in the data and perform the tasks based on the data. So that is nothing but your machine learning. Okay, when we look at that application, so this is what I kept a simple image. This machine is learning from the data. Okay, afterwards, once it learns from the data, it will go and do its task. Okay, this is a simple way I have kept about this machine learning. Yeah, when coming to the applications of machine learning, you will understand whether we are using it in our day-to-day life or not. Okay, so for example, you are using this email. Whenever you get an email, so it will be automatically loaded into the specific folder, right? So it may be your inbox, or it might be the spam, or if it is a advertisement, it will be either social or promotions, etc., etc., right? So behind this Gmail application, sorry, behind this Gmail application, we have a machine learning algorithm which is sorting your emails based on the type. Okay, so it is also dependent on machine learning. And then Flipkart recommendations. This is a simple. Of course, in other e-commerce websites also, you get recommendations, right? Not only in e-commerce things, also in YouTube, you will be getting recommended videos, right, based on your past behavior. So all those recommendations are part of your machine learning algorithms. And even Google Maps we have, okay, which predicts the traffic. Okay, so this is also part of your machine learning. And the applications are not limited to only these three. We used to have the customer service chatbots, right? For example, if you open the IRCTC, we had some chatbot. Now also we have some chatbots, and not only in IRCTC, but also in many public platforms, or even the private company related platforms. We have specific chatbots. And even before generative AI was creating revolution, these chatbots were in use. Okay, how did we create those chatbots? Are by using the machine learning algorithm. Okay, and also we have this stock market predictions, smart home devices, um, right? And also, in if you open no broker, you'll be saying based on the number of rooms, or based on the size of the room, it will be predicting the house rent, right? All those are part of your machine learning itself. All right. Yeah, so till this point of time, in time, right, specifically in time, the machines were learning from the data. So this is nothing but your machine learning. Okay, and we went to this particular concept, to human like learning. Okay, so till this machine learning time, we used to have chatbots. Okay, but usage of that sequence models or text generation was not up to the mark. Okay, it created revolution in the text related data, but it is not up to the mark. Okay, then we introduced, our researchers introduced this concept, human like learning, with the emergence of deep learning. Okay, till this point of time, machines were learning from data that we provide, and then learns patterns from the data and perform the task, like house rent prediction, etc., etc. But it was limited, its capability is limited. From here onwards, machines started to behave like humans. Okay, it started to behave like the human brain processing. Okay, so that is nothing but your deep learning. All right. Yeah, so if you are going to attend for any generative AI interview, or if you are going to start your generative AI syllabus, you must understand the concepts from deep learning. Okay, so your generative AI concepts starts with the in-depth study of deep learning, and then natural language processing. Okay, then RNNs, LSTMs, transformers, LLMs, RAG, LangChain, prompt engineering, fine tuning, etc., etc., etc. This is the sequence that we follow. Okay, even when you start your generative AI preparation, you must be following this particular way. So deep learning. Coming to deep learning, what is deep learning? Deep learning is nothing but teaching machines to think like the human brain. Okay, so here I have kept our human brain nerve cell processing, and on the right side I kept something which you do not know at this point. Okay, but you will understand it in a couple of minutes. So deep learning, coming to the definition, is a subset of machine learning and artificial intelligence, which you already know, that uses multi-layered neural networks. Okay, so it is inspired by the structure and functioning of human brain. Okay, this is a point which you have to consider the most in this entire definition, inspired by the structure and functioning of the human brain. So what is this human brain structure and why it is inspired? Okay, so for example, I am talking to you, right? So for generating the text, my brain is already doing lots of processing inside. Am I correct or wrong? Right, so my brain is already doing lots of processing inside. And if you know this, our brain contains billions of nerve cells or neurons we call, and this is a single nerve cell that I have kept. And if you can understand how our brain process things, you can understand the deep learning concept. Okay, because it is inspired by that, right? So this is a single nerve cell. Okay, and dendrites are the inputs. So for example, a pain sensation or text generation that I'm doing right now, so dendrites will receive the inputs. Okay, this will receive the input, and cell body over here, it will process that input, and then synaptic terminals, you know, these will provide the output to the other nerve cell. Okay, so this is input, this is processing, and this is your output providing layer. So in the same way, researchers, when they thought we would like to introduce a concept where these algorithms will work just like human brain, they wanted to replicate in the same manner. Okay, so here it is the input layer and hidden layer and the output layer. So input layer receives the inputs just like dendrites, and hidden layer will be processing the input. Okay, it will be doing the certain calculations. So it is nothing but your cell body here and hidden layer over here, and the output layer, it provides the output. Okay, so this is, if you call this as a natural neural network, because the nerve cells are connected with each other, right? So it can be called as natural neural network, and we are creating some network inspired by the same. So we are calling it as artificial neural network. If you have understood this concept, okay, so we have already covered some 25 to 30% of deep learning syllabus. Okay, yeah, just a second please, I'm having sip of water. So hope you understood that, right? Deep learning, you got that idea. It is inspired by the structure and functioning of the human brain. Okay, yeah, let's move to the deep learning, how it is categorized. Okay, so we have two types of main data, image data and a text data, right? So coming to the image data, deep learning have the cnnns or convolutional neural networks. Okay, this is also neural network. And for the text data as well, we have a certain type of neural networks, which are rnn, lstm and transformers. Okay, from here onwards we will be discussing all these things in detail, and of course these are the concepts that you must learn as part of your generative AI syllabus. So since this is a 2-hour workshop, I'll give you a brief understanding of what concept this is, and understanding of the concept, and how it advances to the future topics. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is text related. So deep learning, different problems require different types of solutions, right? And deep learning has provided the same. So if you are dealing with image data, it has provided the convolutional neural networks. And if it is a text data, it has provided you RNN, LSTM, and transformers. Okay, yeah. And from here, we will be having a detailed understanding because it is actually required for you. So this is RNN, which we have seen right here, text related deep learning data type. For this text related data type, we are going to use this neural network. Let us see how RNNs were used to work. Okay, so RNNs came in 1980s. Okay, so it came in 1980s, and it was used to generate the sequential data like text. Okay, so we'll have a good understanding how RNN used to work over here. Okay, so it is for now it is nothing but a type of neural network. It is called as a recurrent neural network, and it is type of neural network designed for text related, which you have seen in the previous slide. So let us see how this if I make a chatbot when people used in 1980s, if they make a chatbot, how it used to create a reply. Okay, so here I'm introducing myself. This is Naveen. I'm from Hyderabad, and the climate here is warm and during summer here. Okay. It replied, "Hello, how can I help you today?" So then I'm working on comparing different neural network models. So it said that sounds interesting. What specific models are you comparing? Okay, it replied well, right? And then, can you remind me what my name is and which city I'm from? So I got a doubt whether it remembered my name and a city, right? So I asked it and it said, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name or city. Then I asked it, what did I mention about the climate? It answered, I don't recall you mentioning anything about climate. Hope you understood how RNN used to work. So the main problem of using RNN was memory retention. Okay, the main problem or the biggest limitation of RNN is nothing but they forget. Okay, they forget because it forget my name and it forget my city, right? So that is the biggest limitation of RNN. So let me take out the notepad and I'll explain you what this RNN is all about. Okay, RNN. Okay, so what used to happen in RNN is word to word processing. So for example, I told it right. This is Naveen and I'm from Hyderabad. The climate is warm over here during the summer, right? So when I said that, it used to process the word by word. Okay, this at once, Naveen at once, okay, and climate at once, Hyderabad at once. It used to process words word by word. So process data in a sequence one word at a time. Okay, it means one word at a time. So this is how it used to process the data, and the biggest limitation of it is simply it remembers recent words but struggles with long term dependencies. So am I right or wrong? Can someone say if you understood the RNN? So are these the main points that we discussed so far? Can someone unmute yourself and reply to this? Hello. You can unmute yourself and or even you can type in the chat bot, this chat box itself. Is everyone following me? Has anyone got any doubt or is it boring or would you like to provide any feedback at this point of time? Do you want me to go slowly? Or can someone just unmute yourself and tell me whether this is what we have discussed and what this is the limitation RNN is facing or not? That's it. Please unmute. Okay, at least you can hear my voice, right?
Yes, Naveen.
Okay, fine. Hope you are following, guys, because
Yes,
yeah. Thank you, Vinod, for the confirmation. So yeah, at least you tell me that whether this is what we discussed so far, coming to RNN concept or not.
yeah, correct.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. So, guys, rest of you, I hope you are following it. Okay, no problem. If you want me to go a little bit slow, I can. Okay, so this is nothing but your chatbots. I mean, the sequential data creation. Okay, so how the chatbots are creating the sequence, word sequence, text sequence. This is nothing but a sentence, right? And it is also sequence of words, right? So how this a machine is able to create this text in a sequential manner. Okay, so that particular application is what we are discussing, and RNN is the first one that we have started discussing on. Okay, now, so this is the thing I explained you, the limitation of RNN being it struggled with long range context. Why? Because when I say the climate is my name, Hyderabad, and when I said during summer here, it forget everything, right? After few messages it forget this particular information. This is nothing but your long range context. Okay, so it is not able to remember what I said earlier. So it is nothing but your long range context, and it used to struggle on this. So that is the representation I have kept over here. So when RNN reads about, let's say, so we have word 1, word 2 we are giving, word 3 we are giving. So this is Naveen, I am from Hyderabad, something like that. Okay, and when it comes to Hyderabad, it forget my name Naveen. So it remember only 30% of it memory retention. Okay, but Hyderabad at this point it would be having 100%. And as we go further, the memory retention on the previous words will be decreasing exponentially. Am I right or wrong? So this is the biggest limitation of RNN. Okay, hope you understood. So what happened then? So RNNs were not performing well. Then our researchers have introduced one more neural network. Okay, and it is also a type of recurrent neural network. It is nothing but your LSTM. Okay, so LSTM is a special type of recurrent neural network designed to remember long-term dependencies and solve this vanishing gradient problem that standard RNNs struggle with. Okay, so you just ignore this vanishing gradient, because when you learn the deep learning concept, I'll be explaining this vanishing gradient in a very detailed way. Okay, even the RNN that we discussed, we'll spend at least 1.5 hours on that itself in a generative AI course. Okay, but I'm just keeping you the important points and the evolution of the sequential data over here. Okay, yeah, I would like to give you as much detail as the generative AI requires. Okay, and requires, and this is the sequence that we usually follow when we taking up the course. Okay, and as I said, I'm a generative AI trainer, and I'll follow this sequence, especially, even not only myself, almost all of the institutes. Okay, and this is a simulation I have kept. Okay, even if you see the RNN before, if I told only these concepts, like this means you cannot understand what I am actually saying, right? That is the reason I kept everything in a simplified manner using the simulations. Okay, so LSTM has come up. Let's see. So LSTM, I said, hi, I'm Naveen from Hyderabad. I work with AI. Okay, so it also introduced itself. I told it I am building a tool that works in English, Telugu, Hindi, Tamil, Japanese and Chinese. Okay, so it said that's impressive, what kind of tool are you building? Okay, that's a nice reply from it. I said it's a text sentiment analysis system. My manager wants it also identify product features in reviews. Okay, then it's replied sentiment analysis for combined with feature extraction is usual. What models are you considering? Then what I did, I interacted with it around 5 hours. Okay, I chatted with it for 5 hours, and then I asked it, where am I from? It said you are from Hyderabad. It is absolutely correct. And I asked it again, which language did I mention my tool supports? It said, you mentioned multiple languages, but I don't recall with specific ones. Okay, here again, this LSTM failed. And then, what extra feature did my manager request? It said, I am not sure about the specific feature your manager requested. Okay, but for 5 hours it was able to remember everything, but after a prolonged usage it forget the information, right? Now let me tell you how this LSTM work. Okay, so this is LSTM, the concept, and you know what it has done? It retained the important information, like it successfully said my name is Naveen, and also it said I'm from Hyderabad, right? It remembers that important information over long sequences even after 5 hours of my prolonged usage with it. Okay, and then you know it uses some gates inside. Okay, it will have some forget gate, etc, etc. It forgets some unimportant information and it remembers only the important information. So it is better than RNN because it is not able to, RNN did not even say my name or where I'm from even after a very short usage, right? But it is better than RNN. But there is a limitation for this as well, because the retention is not up to the mark. Retention is not up to the mark. Am I correct or wrong? And also, computationally, it is expensive than RNN. So these are the limitations we have. Okay. So our AI industry took a break at this point, because even though they introduced two models, RNN and LSTM was successful in some way. Okay, it is able to remember some important information and it is better than RNN. But of course, there is one more thing, memory retention is again coming up as a problem. So there was a huge break at that particular point of time. Okay, now let's see how LSTM has this memory retention over long sequences. Okay, so this is the memory retention of LSTM and it is better than RNN. Am I correct or wrong? Because RNN, the first word went till 20% or 30% when we reached the 10th word, right? But here the first word has around 70%. It is far better than RNN. Okay, so this is the main points of LSTM. All right. Yeah. Now I was saying, right, in the AI industry or in the IT industry there was a break. Why there is a pause? Because we were creating chatbots, translations, voice assistants using RNNs and LSTMs till 2017 and it was good. Okay, but not up to the level, and the limitations were quite common. Long test, it wasn't able to process. The training was slow because word by word processing was happening. Memory fades over time even with LSTM. Am I correct or wrong? Memory fading problem is not only limited to RNN. It has come up with LSTM as well. And yeah, this has become a biggest limitation and harder to scale for larger data sets. So these are the limitations we have. And at that particular point of time, industry hit a plateau, which means, you know, there was a huge break. Progress was steady, but it was not revolutionary, right? There were creation of chatbots, translations, and voice assistants at that time as well, but it was not revolutionary at this point of time. you know AI needed something faster, smarter, and scalable. So this was our requirement, right? So what happened then is a story, right? So we are going in a sequential manner, right? So it was till 2017 only. Then what happened in 2017 is the question. So the pause which happened till 2017 is before the explosion. Okay. And what happened after 2017? So, transformers was introduced. Whatever the LLMs that you are using in your day to day life, chat GPT, Claude, Gemini, or Llama, etc., etc., almost all of the LLMs are dependent on this transformers mechanism. Okay, this is that important. So in 2017, people have introduced this particular research journal. Attention is all you need. Okay, it was introduced by one of our Indians itself, and this set of people are from Google. Okay, so from Google, they introduced this particular research journal, so which indirectly introduced this transformers to us. Okay, this revolutionized like anything, and this is the beginning of your chatbots or any text related data or any image related data. Okay, so you are using Ghibli, right, in ChatGPT. There we are creating an image, but it is also dependent on transformers. Okay, yeah. So in my class, we will have a thorough understanding on each and every topic for for 2 hours or 3 hours. Particularly these transformers, I to my students, I explain this for 3 hours the concept, and then I'll show this self attention mechanism which is behind this transformers. Okay, there I'll explain a math problem how the self attention mechanism is processing the words, etc., etc. So by that way I'll be leading out the class, but for here transformers actually do. Okay, so till now we had these problems, right? Word to word processing and limitations like long term dependencies was a problem, right? In order to avoid all these, transformers has come, and what it did, it performed the parallel processing. Okay, so earlier we used to have word to word, right? But here all words are processed at once. So which means the training is faster. Am I correct or wrong? So the training becomes faster in this way. And also, you know it handled long range context far better than LSTM. Okay, these are the main uh, you know um, activities performed by your transformer, and it changed the way we look at the text sequential models. Okay, like RNN and LSTM, whatever we have. Transformers has changed our way in looking at the future. Okay, so the scalability. Also there is one more thing, right? Scalability. So scalability means, so these can be trained on billions of words and still perform exceptionally well. It can be trained on billions of words. Also, it performs exceptionally well. So these are the main advantages of transformers and the self-attention mechanism behind them. Okay, as I said earlier, transformers work on self-attention mechanism. All right. Yeah. So now we have understood these transformers. So if you remember that the differences between three, RNN and LSTM were processing word by one, word by word, right? But transformer sees entire sequence. Okay, let me give that particularly here because it is important for you. RNN or LSTM, and this is transformer. Okay, so RNNs process word one by one, and transformer, you know, it sees entire sequence at once. All right, and then second one is hard to remember long texts. Am I right? And here uses self-attention attention mechanism, okay, to track everything. And then, slow to learn, because word to word processing is very slow, right? So slow to learn means what you will have here: parallelized training. Okay, so this was the time we have started using the GPUs. Okay, so the parallel processing is only possible with using GPUs, right? That's a thing I have mentioned over there. Sequence bound, and then works on any position in the input. Okay, yeah, so this happens, this process the words in a sequence. Okay, and transformers, they work on a position in the input, whatever the position the word may be. Based on its importance, the transformer will be understanding the entire sentence. Okay, so transformers are nothing but they work on giving importance to the words. Okay, if you have a sentence like Naveen from Hyderabad and working as a generative AI professional, and also working as a generative AI trainer. So this particular information, transformer will be able to know to what words it has to give more importance. Okay, so that is nothing but your fourth point. Hope you understood the differences between RNN and LSTM. Okay, now let's move forward. So yeah, by looking at that itself, when I said transformers are the backbone of all your large language models that you are using today, you must have understood that it is the game changer. Am I right or wrong? Yes. So we'll see why it was a game changer. We have already seen, but the state of the art transformer models we have, right? The GPT-4, GPT-3, Gemini 1.5, which is introduced by Google, Mistral, Llama, etc., etc. State of the art models are nothing but well recognized and well used models. Okay, the models that we are using today are these, and all of these are dependent and works on the mechanism of transformer. Hope you got this single point. So whatever I said now is important. All right. Yeah. Hope you got that. Now moving forward, this is just an evolution of language models. Okay. Just have a look at it. I'll take a sip of water. Yes. So you understood that transformers have come up in 2017, and companies have started building large language models using these transformers. And 2018 itself, you can see OpenAI has come up with GPT, and BERT was introduced by Google. GPT, first they introduced GPT-1, then GPT-2, and GPT 3.5, which the chat GPT worked on GPT 3.5, right? So it was having around 175 billion parameters. And then Google has came up with a smaller model like BERT with 340 million parameters. Okay, so 2018 these LLMs were introduced, and 2022, chat GPT has entered industry. And if you don't know this fact, within 5 days of chat GPT's entrance into IT industry or into the world, around 1 million users started using ChatGPT, and this is the only application has that much demand. Within 5 days, 1 million users is not a small thing, right? And it created that history. So even you would have used ChatGPT in 2022 November December that time, but people started using more from 2023 April. Okay, and 2023, as you know, many other models, multi models have come up. Okay, Llama by Meta, Palm 2 by Google, etc., etc. Yes. And this is a major milestones of artificial intelligence which we have already seen, so I'm skipping this part over here. So yeah, this comes the question: what is a large language model, right? So can someone unmute yourself and answer me what is this large language model? Just tell me the definition, that would be enough. Can you hear me? So at least you can chat in the send an message in the chat box. What is LLM? Okay, or otherwise should I pick someone? Okay, fine. Don't worry, I'm going to give you the concept clearly. I'll write it over here. Okay, what is LLM? This is a basic question. So LLM is nothing but a large language model. Okay, so why it was called large, that points also we need to discuss, right? Why large? Why it is calling large? Because it was trained on billions of words. Okay, so it was trained from many news articles, websites, open source, all of the information, books, libraries. Okay, it was trained on billions of words. That is the reason it is called as large. Not only that, it uses millions or even billions of parameters. Okay, so billions of parameters. We'll see what parameters are. So for at this moment, parameters are nothing but your weights and biases. Okay, so each and every time your large language model learns something, okay, it will update its weights and biases inside it. Okay, this is a part of your deep learning. Okay, yeah, when people introduce you to the deep learning concept, they'll introduce you to the parameters, and what are these biases and weights, etc., etc. Okay, at least myself, I introduced this concept there itself. Okay, to have a better understanding over things. And then it can store vast amounts of knowledge. So that's the reason, if you ask any question, a chat GPT can be able to understand and give you answer. Okay, so these are the main points why we call a large model as large language, large. Okay, and then we'll see why it is a language here. Why it is a language here? Okay, we understood that large is nothing but it was trained with billions of words, which is important over here because it was trained on, as I said, multiple resources, and then it is containing billions of parameters. Okay, and then it can store vast amounts of data. So that is the reason we are calling it as large. And then why it is called as language? This is another question, right? So it is specializes in understanding and generating the text or human language, right? It is able to understand human language very well, and so without any mistakes, it is able to converse with people just like people, right? We see there was no difference between a human and a machine in terms of language, right? That is the one of the main points of it. And also it handles paragraphs. So these two are the reasons for calling it a language model, because it is able to converse with us in a very fluent manner, and also it is able to text with us, or it can understand the text from us in with even it has a number of paragraphs, or it has a general conversations with it, right? If we ask llm how are you, it is able to answer and reply back to you, right? So it is nothing but following a human methodology of talking with people, right? So it is very well equipped with this particular ability. That is the reason we are calling it as large language, and a model is nothing but an algorithm. Again, just like a machine learning model or generative AI model, it is an algorithm which follows certain rules. All right. Yeah. Now that you understood LLM very nicely, right? Why it is a large language and all, but but even LLM has set of limitations. Am I correct or wrong? So I would like to ask someone from the group, what are the limitations a LLM is having? Please unmute yourself and answer. What are the limitations that you see? You are using ChatGPT every day, right? Or ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, etc., right? So you are using them every day. And what are the flaws that you found in the LLM, or what are the limitations that you found in LLM? Can someone answer to this?
Token limit.
Sorry.
Token limit means after asking
Yes,
multiple
correct,
questions.
exactly, and excellent. Yes, it has a token limit, right? Yeah. Thank you, Umesh. So let me show you what are the other limitations here for an LLM. Okay. So whatever you said, right? Token limit is excellent. It is one of the limitation. And along with that, we have two other different and important limitations, which are outdated information one, and no access to your specific or private data. Okay. This we'll explain over here. Okay. So as I said, outdated information. What does it mean? What does it mean? Limitations. Okay. So outdated information means llms, if you are using chat gpt 3.5 or 4, you know um, gpt 3.5, if you take, it was trained up to 2021 data only. So if you ask a question which happened in 2022, will it be able to answer? So it was trained till 2021. If I ask a question which has a information from 2022 or 23, 22, 23, etc., will it be able to answer the question or not? Absolutely no.
No.
Yes, absolutely no. So that is one limitation it is having. And it won't be having access to your private data, right? So what is this private data? So if you are so most of you are working in any of the companies, right? And you ask it a question, what is the maternity policy in so and so company? Will it be able to answer? If the matter is part of its training, it is able to answer it perfectly, right? But what if the matter is not part of its training? Obviously your company's data won't be part of its training, right? So it doesn't have access to your company files, databases, or personal information unless you explicitly connect them to such sources. Am I right or wrong? So that is one biggest limitation, because it is not able to answer your personal data as well, because it was not trained on it, right? This is one other limitation LLM is having. And what is the next one? As said by Umesh, it is correct. It is having limited context window. If I want to tell you, each of the LLM model will be having a certain limit, okay, to what extent it can understand in one go. Okay, every model every model has a maximum number of tokens, okay, which it can handle at a time. So that is nothing but your limited context window. Okay, so this part we'll see, I'll show you a demonstration of how this is working. Okay, but for now you can remember that. Okay, so hope you have tried this particular thing, because if you have a PDF of some certain content and you are uploading in ChatGPT and you are asking questions from it, to certain level only it is able to answer the questions perfectly. After that it will give wrong answers, right? So based on the document whatever you provide, even though that information is part of your document, your model can't go till that concept and answer you perfectly. That is nothing but your limited context window. All right, hope you understood these particular things. So these are the biggest limitations. Then what needs to be done here? So um, this is the question: how can we give an LLM current, specific, and private data and make it answer intelligently and responsibly? Responsibly means it should not give any wrong answers to your question, right? That is nothing but your responsibility, and it should answer your question perfectly and intelligently. And of course, it has to get access of current, specific, and private data. How can a LLM can do this? That is our question. This is where IT industry or AI industry was again thinking. Our LLM has these many limitations. So how can we overcome these limitations? Was the question. And then was the time. People have introduced this RAG, retrieval augmented generation. Okay. So whatever the limitations you are having over here. So these limitations, the first one being the outdated information. What a RAG can do, RAG is nothing but your retrieval augmented generation, right? I'll just give you what a RAG can do for this particular limitation. All right, outdated information in one model. Okay, how RAG will solve this is, RAG connects with the LLM to an connects LLM to an external database. Okay, external database or external data source. The source may be a website, PDF, Word, text, etc., etc. So you give your particular information here in the website. So the RAG will connect LLM to this particular things, and then this limitation will be covered, right? So if you ask any question on 2022 and the external data source, this PDF is having the data of 2022, your LLM is able to answer it perfectly, right? Which means RAG has successfully striked out this limitation of LLM. Okay, and then no access to private data. As I said earlier, LLMs can't access your business data or private documents on their own. Am I correct or wrong? So with RAG, you can upload your custom PDFs, docs, or database entries, right? So that way, for example, you are sending a PDF as a RAG document. Okay, this PDF is containing your company data again, company policies data. Now just tell me, if I ask it, if I ask the LLM which is related, which is linked to the RAG, which is connected to the RAG, if I ask this particular question, what is a maternity policy in a company, is it able to answer this particular question or not? Because you have already sent an PDF which contains your company information and company policies over there. So your LLM is able to answer that very perfectly. All right. So this is one of the other uh, usage of using your RAG. And limited context window. Okay, I was telling you, right? So chat GPT, for example, the first versions, it was having only context window as 8,000 to some 32,000 tokens only. So in one go, chat GPT can read the document with 8,000 words or 32,000 words only. Whatever the document, PDF document, Word or text document you send, it can in one go it can read only 8,000 words. Okay, and then in the same way, Claude is having and Gemini is having. So Gemini and Claude also have their own contextual context windows, number of tokens. All right. So now this particular, because of this limitation, we cannot expect it to answer from the document because it can't read. For example, you have sent a 500 pages document, it can only read first 50 pages, and whatever the question you ask, it will be delivering that answer based on 50 pages only. The rest 450 pages there, right, it can't give answer to them. Only 50 out of your 500 pages only an LLM can read and answer. That is the limitation it is having if you upload a document. Okay, this is when, if you upload a document, if you upload a document in any LLM like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, so it can read only 50 pages. I'm just telling this as an example. Okay, please don't take it as a hard coded value. Okay, and then so what RAG can do is it takes up the document, and so we have this 500 page document, right? 500 page document, it takes up this document, and then it converts them into vectors, and it store them in a database. Okay, so even if you ask your LLM a question from 500th page, okay, now LLM, which is internally connected with your RAG, can answer that question perfectly. So these are the main uses of your RAG. Okay, so a RAG is always and always connected to your LLM to provide fresh data, current data, private data, and limiting this context window. All right. So these are the main limitations of LLM and how the RAG has solved all these problems. Hope you understood this particular concept, right? So user asks a question, what is a maternity policy? Then RAG, the flow will be like this. RAG, it will be having your document entirely, right? So the document words, it will be converted into vectors, okay? At this point of time, you just forget about these vectors because it is confusing. So RAG will have a database which will have all the words in it, okay? Now the question, what is the maternity policy? RAG will retrieve that particular answer, okay? Maternity policy for so and so company is 7 months, okay, for a working woman, or 16 weeks, okay. So it provides that particular it takes up that particular information from the database, and then it provides that information to LLM, okay, and LLM provides that answer to the user, saying that, so you asked about maternity leave policy, so the maternity leave policy of your company is 16 weeks. Okay, so that is the application or the combination of RAG and LLM has created wonders. Okay, all right. So the next question comes up. Okay, is LLM plus RAG combination helps us building a chatbot? Okay, so this should be your question, right? So okay, we understood about LLMs and we understood about the RAG concept as well. So is this particular combination and exposure to this particular knowledge is enough to build a chatbot? That should be your question. Am I right or wrong? The answer to this question is to some extent S. Okay, to some extent S. With RAG and LangChain, you are able to create a chatbot or any kind of sequential model. Maybe it is not only about chatbot or any other text related model. Okay, so to some extent it is yes, but in a high level, it makes your task very difficult. Okay, then which we then again we got this doubt. The researchers or in the AI industry, there was a pause again. So we have LLM plus RAG, but we are not able to build a chatbot because it is requiring around thousands of lines of code to be written, and it is not effective at all because these are present in the architecture, but these are not connecting with each other every time when a user asks a question, right? So this was the question people have come up those days. Okay, very recently it is, but yeah, that was the time people have introduced some frameworks like LangChain. All right, this is the open source framework. Okay, whatever the components we have, LLM, RAG, chains, and memory, etc., etc., or prompt templates we have, the LangChain, here he is a main person, right? What he'll be doing? He'll be controlling all these people. He'll be controlling the sequence of this particular music pad, music note, right? This person is able to control LLM, RAG, memory, prompt templates, chains, and also he'll be looking after the sequence. So which should come up first when a user asks a question? How should what flow the architecture should follow? All these things will be taken care by your LangChain. That is the reason I put this image over here. Okay, I hope you got a better idea by looking at this image, because I thought how to represent LangChain in a simple way, so I kept it over here. So LangChain is an open source framework designed to build powerful applications like large language models by connecting external data tools memory, like a conductor guiding an orchestra of components to perform the complex AI tasks seamlessly. So this is the definition of it. Okay, so yeah, so basically this is how a chatbot will work. At first, user, for example, user is nothing but ourselves. We ask a question to our chatbot, whether it may be chat gpt. Let's say take a example as chat gpt. So we ask a question, then what happens is that, so your backend application will be looking after whether the answer is already available in the chat that the user provided. For example, I provided my name is Naveen, and after that I'm asking it what is my name. So if it is present in the chat already, LLM will be going through the chart first, okay, and then it will be following the rag. So the name is not available in chat, so I must look at the rag, okay. So like this it will be following. Then what will happen is that that particular information, if it is part of rag, you know, it will be taking that particular information will be taken to the LLM, and the LLM will get the context, I mean the information. The name is Naveen. So the prompt templates will be created by the application backend, and they will provide that particular thing your LLM, and LLM will respond to back to your user. I know at this particular point of time it is confusing because this concept is huge. As a trainer, you know, I explain this concept for 3 hours. You know, uh, let me show you that. Otherwise, let me show you my class presentations. So I think you will get some good idea from there. This LangChain, how it works. Okay. So this is NLP. Okay, this is all my class material. So when I teach some concept to people, you know, I keep these certain things. So to make people, very good understanding in a short time. If there is a complex concept, it is always better to show things in a easy manner, right? So that's the reason I keep mind maps for a better understanding of how LLMs were divided, and what are the LLMs, and on what principles they work, and the architecture that we are talking about here, langchain framework, and how it is going to work. All these kind of things I usually show here, and then get back here and explain the concepts in notepad, and we'll have a practical exposure using the code. We'll practice a lot. So that is the process I follow. Okay, coming to this langchain, see, user provides a query, right? And then the query, as computers can't understand human language, they'll be converting into some vector forms or number forms. Okay, that number forms, before that our rag will be having the document, whatever the company document we might be having, that particular document will also be splitted into vectors. Okay, and then all those vectors will be stored in the vector store. All right. So whenever a user asks a question like where Naveen is situated, or where Naveen is located, that particular information, the location of Naveen is Hyderabad, that particular information will be in vector form in the vector store. All right. So when this person ask a question, this LLM, whatever we have, it takes up the information from vector store and replies back to the user. All right, this is the flow. And these are the external LLMs and documents we have. So this is a deep understanding of what langchain work, how langchain will work. Okay, where were we? Yes, LangChain. Yeah. Hope you got the capability of LangChain. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask me when I give time to for the question session. Okay. So we have covered this as well. And this is what is this prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is nothing but, we give a instruction or a question to a chatbot, right? Chatbot or front end application like chat GPT are using, right? You'll be asking the question, right? What is the difference between machine learning and deep learning? So that question or the instruction we give to a chat GPT or any kind of LLM, that particular question or instruction is called as prompt. All right, hope you got that idea. So prompt is nothing but a question or instruction that you are giving to a LLM. Okay, in prompt engineering, of course this can also be taught for hours. However, I kept the important points over here. So zero shot, few shot, and this instruction based, role based, all these are your important concepts. Okay, let me give you a, simple understanding of things. Okay, I'll we do not have much time, but I'll try to cover this in a short way. So What is this zero shot? Zero shot is a technique. Okay, so zero shot, shot means you can take it as example. Okay, so for example I am asking it to I have a question, translate this sentence to Hindi. Okay, I have a English sentence. Let's say I am playing cricket and I want the chatbot to translate it to Hindi. Okay, but I am not giving it any example. Okay, so for example eat means cow, right? Eat means cow, and play means kelna, etc., etc. So if we give that particular um, example to the chatbot and ask it to translate the sentence, this is the sentence I have given to LLM and asking it to translate without providing these type of examples. Okay, so if we don't provide these kind of examples, then it becomes a zero shot technique. Okay, which is not an efficient technique. All right, so whenever you are chatting with a chatbot, you must provide example to it. Okay, few examples to it. It is nothing but your few shot. So short is nothing but your example, right? So this time I'm asking what game am I playing, and I have given some examples to it. So here I did not give, but here I have given this is nothing but few shot. All right, this is nothing but your few shot prompting. Whenever you chat with a chatbot, if you give examples to it or shorts to it, it can explain you the things very clearly and efficient manner. All right, this is one thing. And then we have instruction based prompting, right? Instruction based prompting, what does it mean? So instruction based prompting is nothing but, for example I have given an example, like I'm asking it summarize the following paragraph in a sentence. In this manner you are clearly instructing what the model to do step by step. Okay, so in that case a model will be able to give you the sentence in a concise manner. So you have instructed right, so you give the sentence the following paragraph in a sentence, right? So if you're asking like that and it is following that instruction and giving the reply to you in a concise manner, it is nothing but your construction instruction based prompting. All right, and then we have one more technique which is called as role based prompting. All right, so what this role based prompting means? Role based prompting means we have a question, right? What is the maternity uh, policy in our company or in so and so company? Okay, this question you are asking ChatGPT, like you are an HR manager, explain me the maternity policy in our company. Okay, so if you ask this, if you ask in this way, you are telling the LLM to take up this role, take up a role of HR manager and tell me, explain me the maternity policy in our company, so that it acts like a HR manager and it won't it specifically won't say the maternity policy. Of course it say as a HR manager it gives you a very detailed answer. Okay, however the HR replies to our questions in a real time. All right, this is nothing but your role based prompting. And then we have one more technique called as chain of thought. Chain of thought prompting. So you can ask the model, for example let's say if a train if a train travels at 60 kilometer per hour and 90 kilometers in 1.5 hour, what is the average speed? If you give a prompt like this, the present models can explain this in a you can give you a correct answer, but the base models whatever we had earlier, right, GPT-2, GPT 3.5, etc., etc., there is a possibility that it can give an error, because speed is nothing but your distance by time, right? So firstly it has to calculate the total distance, so which is nothing but your 60 plus 90 kilometer, so 150 kilometer, right? And then it has to calculate the total time, how much time it has taken, 2.5 hours, right? This is 1 hour and 1.5 hour, 2.5 hour. Then it has to calculate the average speed. Speed is nothing but your distance by time. It becomes around 60 or 50, 60 kilometer per hour, let's say. Okay, so in this way, if you ask the LLM to provide if this is your question, it might give you an error or wrong answer. Okay, so if you give like explain the steps kind of, if you give in such manner, it follows a chain. So the chain will be like this: first it will calculate the total distance, and then total time, and then speed and distance, then it gives you a perfect, correct, or absolute answer. Okay, all right. So we have these are the main techniques that we follow as part of your prompt engineering. But in our class, we usually explain this concept in a very detailed manner. Okay, so yeah, now I would like to tell you, I have explained you certain concepts, right? Let me tell you why you should learn generative AI now. All right. 1 second. Why you should learn generative AI? So hope you people already know what is the revolution generative AI or artificial intelligence is going to create in the coming years. All right, so this particular news from World Economic Forum, or this thing is from Bain and Company. But whatever the article you see, it will show that there is a gap of 1 million talent in India alone. Okay, so because generative AI is booming like anything, and we have a huge opportunity, but we have a lack of skilled talent. Approximately 50% of the jobs or not at all will be filled if the current resources are at this level. All right, and also if you are following any job portals like Naukri, etc., etc., you can see generative AI is opening up with high paying roles globally. Okay, so the booming is going to start in 2025 itself, and it was already started in 2024 October actually. To tell you very specifically, in October 2024 it started hiring the generative AI engineers, and it is going on in a exponential manner. All right, let us see the number of India's AI job vacancies and what is the talent gap we have. All right, if you see in 2025 alone, you have around 5 lakh job vacancies uh, will be created in the coming months, and there will be a shortage of around 5 lakh people working on this particular domain, and this keep on increasing. It's like 7 lakh, 9 lakh, and then 10 lakh, 10 12 lakhs, something like that, 16, like that. So this is the artificial intelligence job market today. If you go through the World Economic Forum report or any kind of other reports, you can see how much need we have. All right, and then we'll see what are the generative AI job roles. So these are the current job roles, and these are the current job roles in generative AI. I'm saying existing job roles on generative AI. You can see them in job portals as well, and these are the expected job roles. So so our institute has started this advanced generative AI program to help you start your generative AI with clarity, confidence, and projects that speak for you. So you might be wondering what kind of program it is. Okay, and also you might be having this doubt, do we need any prior knowledge to enroll to this course? Okay, this course requires no prior knowledge at all. We teach from zero level. Okay, when I say zero level, I would like to explain over here. So what are the skills required for generative AI? Firstly, you need Python, right? Python basics plus advanced as well, because you must know the libraries like pandas, numpy, matplotlib, etc., right? And then you must have fundamentals of maths and statistics. Okay, and then be a person should be having basics of machine learning. Please ignore the spellings. Machine learning. And then we will explain the deep learning concept, natural language processing, where you'll discuss the text processing, feature extraction, etc., etc. And mainly we'll discuss more on LSTM, RNN, and GRU, etc. Okay, we'll mostly do the text processing, feature extraction, and embeddings, etc. Topics over here. Okay, and then you need to learn the transformers and transfer learning. All right, and then you'll have to introduce you to LLM, RAG, LangChain, llama index, llama index, and the cloud deployments, etc., etc., etc. So whether you are working as a tester or data engineer or whatever the role you are working in your present company, it doesn't matter to become a generative AI engineer. And this particular program will make you generative AI engineer in 100 days. Okay, in 100 classes. So if the classes are for 99 days, you can sit for interview from the 100th day. Okay, sit for interview, and we'll help you on the interview preparation, resume preparations, etc., etc., on 100th day. All right, so this is the confidence we have, and we'll make you as equal as confidence we are feeling inside. Okay, you'll be confident enough to attend any generative AI posting that you see. All right, to show you the curriculum, let me open that curriculum for you. So yeah, we'll be covering, this is a brochure or course curriculum. So we'll be discussing all these concepts in a sequential manner. Of course, this Python is not related to the data engineering or application oriented. Okay, this Python is specifically designed in such a way that you'll have a thorough understanding on the fundamentals required for generative AI specifically. All right, so we'll be covering the Pythons in a sequential manner and the libraries, and we'll be having a thorough knowledge on each of these particular topics. Okay, in fact more than that. And machine learning essentials, we'll learn from basics, and then we'll go with deep learning. We won't be covering only the theoretical part. Also we'll be having a problem understanding, and we'll be solving some maths problem. Okay, we believe that to understand a concept, the theoretical and the practical understanding are only not required. Okay, along with theoretical plus practical, you must also have what is happening inside that particular algorithm. Okay, so if you can understand this, you can crack any interview on deep learning, but at this point of time. So that's the reason we have added maths problems, so that you'll go in depth into the concept. Okay, and in a easy manner. Okay, when I said I'm using the presentations, etc etc to explain you concepts, so they'll be helping you to make the typical concept or difficult concept in a simple manner. All right, so some of the concepts might be difficult to understand, any kind of a generative AI concept, but we'll make it very easier for you to have a in-depth understanding of each and everything. All right, and then you will be starting with the foundations of generative AI, transformers and large language models, embeddings, okay, lang chain, rag, orchestration, fine tuning, deploying of generative AI applications using your normal, local system deployments or the cloud deployments as well. All right, deployment in GCP and AWS. Okay, by this time, we would have covered multiple mini projects on each and every concept. Okay, we'll be covering mini project and exercises on each and every concept, and at the end where we are confident on ourselves, we will be starting the capstone projects, where you will be deploying the applications in the cloud. Okay, so that everyone can use, and also we'll be dealing with the enterprise grade capstone projects as well. Okay, so this is the point. We'll leave you in such a position that you will be having equal knowledge of a person who is already working as a generative AI engineer in the real time, equal to the real time professional. Okay, so you will be having that particular understanding, a great understanding on generative AI, and you will be having equal knowledge of a person who is working in a real time in any company. All right, so yeah, this is about our program, and for more information you can contact management on this, and they'll provide you everything, the brochure or the fees, etc etc. You would have already received a message on that. Okay, so yeah, this is the time for your questions. All right, so if you have any kind of questions, you can ask me, and I'll be ready to answer. Yes, please unmute yourself, and you can ask any kind of questions that we have discussed so far on the program or on the concepts, technical concepts that we have discussed, etc., etc.
Yeah, Naveen, I have one question.
Sure, yeah.
You said a machine can't understand English language. It has to
Yes,
convert
yes,
the language to some numerical form.
yes, correct.
Then how a machine can understand the image?
Image you are asking, yeah, yeah, okay. So that is an excellent question. Thanks for asking this. Okay, as I said earlier, right? A machine can't understand human language, whatever the language, English, Hindi, etc., etc. It must convert this language to some numerical form. Okay, this we called as embeddings vectors, embedding vectors. All right, so I said, right, English language, it will be able to convert to vector embeddings. Okay, but what about the images? That is your question, right? I'll show you. I'll take you to the NLP, presentation that I usually use. All right, there you can understand how it converts that particular thing into vector form. So this is the presentation I usually use for my classes. So here you can see. So text words, as you know, it will be converted to the numerical representations like word embeddings or vectors. Okay. What about the images? That is your question. So the pixel values we have, right? Pixel image is made up of thousands and millions of pixels, right? So those pixels will represent the image features. Okay, so this is the question you asked. Image processing, if you have a original image, so it will be converted into a numerical form like pixel values. So this is RGB matrix. Any color image, if you take red, green and blue, the representation of red, green and blue becomes some image, right? So based on the intensity of these colors, it will form a vector form. All right, so this becomes your numerical representation, right? So for example, I show you the computer vision. Yeah, computer vision, let me open that so that you'll get a better idea. So if you look at this particular example, so this particular image is sharp and very clear, right? Which means it has lots of pixels, and each of the pixel is represented in a vector form, right? So 120, 125, 130, right? What are these values? 0 becomes the black, and 255 becomes your white. So based on that, 0 becoming black and 255 becoming your white, your pixels will be organized in this manner, and these are nothing but your vector representations, and this is how a machine can understand how the picture and image looks like. All right, yeah, hope I
Yeah.
answered your question based on the pixels. So the machine will understand it in a vector form. Yeah, so what are the other questions you having? Others can unmute yourself and ask any questions. Thank you, firstly thank you, Vinod, for asking that question. So probably most of the people will be having that in mind, right? Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Naveen.
Hi Kiran, yes.
Yeah. So actually, I am a Monstack developer and I have 2 years of experience. So I just want to ask about it career perspective. So how much we can expect after completion of the course?
How much means
It-
experience or
Yeah, in terms of salary and all, and also
yes,
the
yes,
designation.
yes. So basically current, if you enter the market now, you have 2 years experience, right? That's what you are saying, right, Kiran?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So if you have 2 years experience, if you see, not all the technologies in IT will have or will have the requirement from 0 years of experience, freshers, etc. But the machine learning or artificial related jobs do not have this particular condition that a person must be having good experience. All right, so that is the reason machine learning or generative AI jobs, they are releasing for 0 experience as well. Okay, that people should keep in mind. We have plenty of jobs which requires no experience at all. But coming to your case, Kiran, so you have 2 years of experience, right? After this course, so this becomes around 3 months, right? After this course, you can directly apply uh, for any jobs which requires 2.5 years of experience directly, because you will be having that much deep understanding over the concepts, and you can directly apply for 2.5 years of experience of generative AI engineer. Okay, and coming to the salaries, right? Salary in IT industry is always dependent on how much salary you are getting today. Okay, so based on this particular salary whatever you are getting today, they will be having certain percentage like 30 to 50%. Then they'll be adding 30 to 50% of your salary and will be providing that salary hike to you in the new company. All right, But coming to generative AI, as this is a booming technology and there is a very few talent available, and there is a huge talent gap, they are ready to give you even 100 to 200% of hike. At least I have seen in my previous students, they are getting 150% hike in their salary itself. Okay, so even when I switch it to this I have overall 8.5 years of experience, and I have been working as generative AI engineer from the couple of years. Okay, some 2.5 to 3 years experience I have in this particular generative AI. Earlier also I was working on machine learning and generative AI concepts. So because there was no specific generative AI roles, right? When I made a transition, then also I got more than what I told you, right? I can't say it here, but we have a bright future and very good percentage hike coming to this particular technology. All right, so you can expect easily more than what you have in mind. Okay, so that is
Okay.
a
Yeah,
simple
and
answer.
so one question.
Yeah.
Do DurgaSoft provide some opportunities for Gen AI engineer?
Opportunities in the institute, are you asking, or if the vacancies are available they'll be intimating you like that?
Yeah. Vacancies are available. They will be like,
Yes, yes, obviously it will be providing that. We'll be, see, once the batch starts, we'll be creating a separate group for the enrolled students, and whenever a job is coming up for a particular experience, we'll post it over there. Okay.
so is this weekend course, right?
This is not a weekend batch. That Durgasoft will let you know. So basically, for now, it is a 9 p.m. batch, because people have requested us to have a batch at 9 p.m. after they complete their work. All right. So it starts at 9 p.m.
Thanks.
daily. Yeah. So any other questions? So please let me know for you people. Again, I'm telling you, if you switch your career at this point of time, your package, you won't have that in mind as well, the percentage that people will be providing you. The direct example, we have a couple of students who transition to the generative AI. Also, you can see in you just type in any job portal and you will find a good amount over there. Let me show you. I have that particular salary range as well. I would like to show that. Just a second, please. So this should answer your question, Kiran. So we have AI and machine learning specialists growing at 78% growth rate year over year. Okay, and these are the fastest declining jobs we have. And salaries, I wanted to keep. I'm just thinking where I kept that salary. Yeah. So these are the salary ranges for people nowadays. All right. So there are many people who are getting more than this. Okay, in my colleagues or in my students or relatives, whoever are in this field, they are getting in more than 30 lakhs, something like that. And with your experience also, you can expect till this point. Okay, so you can refer to that in any job portals, but learning generative AI at this point of time will give you a fruitful results, because there is a huge talent gap, and you are one of those most sought resources for a company. All right. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, it's time to wind up the session. It's already been the correct time, 2 hours we have completed. All right. Anyone have any questions? Okay, fine, guys. So if you do not have any questions, of course you can send a question to us every time. I have provided my email ID, etc. Or directly you contact Durga Software, Durgasoft management, and they'll be able to provide any kind of clarifications on the duration of the course and the content of the course or the fees of the course. Anything they'll be able to provide you. All right, so let's wind up the session. Okay, and thank you so much for your time, and hope I covered everything. And and this is the program you keep in mind, and if you have any questions, you can ask to our management. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for your time on these 2 hours. All right. Yeah.